So we are going to make pickled northern pike. I caught some pickled northern pike, and we're going to use this cookbook. This is probably my favorite northern pike pickled fish recipe, and I want to share it with you. This book, The Ultimate Game and Fish Cookbook, I think I got it at a garage sale, and so we're going to make that start the process of making the brine for the pickled northern. So I have here in the sink, I have my northern pike fillets. And I have to cut them up into 1-inch pieces. I don't have the amount that they say in the recipe to have 8 fillets, but when I get it, I use the fillets I got, and I make as much as I can, because you do add onions and some banana peppers to the brine, well, to the finished product. So let's cut these up. These fillets were frozen in water, and so I'm going to rinse them off a little bit before beginning the brine. I normally vacuum seal my fish, but this time I used Ziploc bags to freeze the fillets. I'm just rinsing off any stuff that may be from the cleaning process, scales or anything. Northern pike can be slimy, and so I want to try to clean them as much as possible. Okay, now I'm going to take the fillets and I'm going to cut them in approximately 1-inch pieces. You don't have to take the bones out. That's why pickling fish is such a delicious thing to do with bony fish. And is to cut them into smaller pieces, and then you can serve them once you're done with crackers or whatever. Most of the time that I've made this dish, this pickled northern, people don't even use the crackers, so I stopped bringing crackers to if I take this to somebody's house or whatever, to share it with them. So yep, you want to cut these into 1-inch pieces, or approximately, or maybe a little smaller depending on the size of the fillet. Anytime you have bony fish, pickling it is a great part of the process. This may not be, maybe a northern pike, this might be a bluegill. So we'll still pickle that too. That doesn't bother me at all. Bluegill will be just as delicious in here as well. I caught this ice fishing through the ice, yes, here in the Midwest. And so it's a favorite thing to do, is to pickle fish. And it's a delicious appetizer or a snack. So I'll finish this, and then we'll be in the brine. So I finished cutting up the fish into 1-inch pieces, or approximately that, depending on the size of the fillet, the thickness. And so I have 1 cup of use pickling salt, but you can use any salt that's really that doesn't have iodized salt. So you want to use salt that is not iodized. I have 6 cups of water, and I have my vessel to put them in here. Fillets. It's bigger than what I need, but because it has a lid, that's why I'm using this one. And so here you want to brine the fish. You're going to do it for 48 hours. Just stick it in the refrigerator and you watch it. You know, go in there and maybe stir it a little bit, but pretty much you're going to let it do its thing. And so what I like to do is I like to put the salt in first, then pour the water in, and try to dissolve some of it. So I will use a wooden spoon here. Try to dissolve it a little bit. It will dissolve in the water. Now the cookbook says put the fillets in first, then put all this on there. That's not what I do. I've always just done it this way, and try to dissolve the water as much as possible. The brining process is pretty straightforward. I mean, if you were brining meat, any kind of meat, you would do the same thing. There's a ratio of salt to water. So I've got that mixed up somewhat. Doesn't have to be perfect. And this is a sea salt I'm using. I'll put the fillets in there. Then I do have a lid, and I will put them in the refrigerator for the period of time that's required. I mix them up a little bit with my hand, which has been washed. And in this batch, I actually have a bluegill that I must have caught through the ice. I don't remember. It was back in February, and I didn't mark the bags. So, all right, so there we go. There is the fish in the salt brine. And what I'll do next is put the lid on. So I put the lid on, and now I'm going to go over and put it in the refrigerator, and then set a timer for 48 hours. or about that. If you don't exactly take it out of the refrigerator, that's fine. In 48 hours, it's just got to be close. So, all right, we will put it in the refrigerator. So we put the fish in the brine with the lidded container into the refrigerator, and now we will set a timer for 48 hours. And then the next step will be in a couple days. Okay, we're at the point where the fish have been in the salt brine for 48 hours. Here is the fish. I rinsed it in water and prepared it for the pickling process. This is our recipe, which will be in the description that we're using, the pickled fish recipe, and we're pickling northern pike, as I stated earlier in the beginning of this. We have our spice blend here, pickling spice, along with our juniper berries, which I ordered online. Right here we have our half a cup of brown sugar. I have a mix of peppers there. These are not spicy peppers. I have red onion. I can use white as well. But I decided in this case I wanted it to be more colorful. We use Moscato. So over the years I've found that Moscato is probably the best wine to use in this recipe and makes a great product, and people love it. And then in this measuring thing here, this Pyrex measuring glass, we have 1 cup of the Moscato wine. Use any wine that you like. It doesn't matter. I buy the cheapest stuff I can. Because I don't care. And it's not bad. This is Oak Leaf. It's a Walmart brand. Not too bad. And then half a cup of white distilled vinegar. And then we will pour all these ingredients into our pot. I usually pour the dry ones in here. The vegetables get added in with the fish, so you're not going to put them in at this time. And I do have 2 mason jars here. One's a quart and one's a pint, just in case I don't have enough space for all the fish and the vegetables. If I don't, I'll make another batch of this and prepare it for product. All right, what I like to do before I even put it on the fire or on the stove, our electric stove, is to mix it up a little bit, try to dissolve some of the sugar. And according to the recipe, you heat this up for 3 minutes. So we're going to go to the stove here in just a second. We are now at the stove. I've just turned it on to high. I will whisk it a little bit. You don't want the sugar to burn on the bottom. This will take a little bit to heat up. And once it's heated up, you want to cook it for, or heat it up for 3 minutes, according to the recipe. Okay, we have a boil. It's not a rolling boil, but pretty close. And you'll do that for 3 minutes, and then you'll cool the solution down to 160 and then pour it over the vegetables and the fish, and then close it up and put it in the refrigerator. And then wait a week. And then you can enjoy the wonderful product. You also have to, once in a while, move the jar around, shake it a little bit during that 7 days. Okay, the pickling solution has been removed from the stove. And now you must wait until it cools down to get to 160. And then add to the fish and add the onions and the peppers, which we've already done. And then cover and refrigerate for, it says 5 days, I do 7. I think it just comes out with a better product. I also wait for it to cool down a little bit before I put it in the refrigerator and put the lid on. All right, the solution is cooled down. And now we will pour it over the fish and vegetable mixture. Do it very slowly. You may have to get some of the air out of it as well to allow most of the mixture to get in there, because there will be air bubbles in between the layers of fish and vegetables. I have a long plastic spatula. I'm going to try to use that to get some of the air bubbles out. And if you don't have enough solution, pickling solution, you can always add a little bit more wine and vinegar. I usually try to press it down a little bit to get it all covered up. It's pretty well covered up. All right. And so now you'll take this and you'll put the lid on after it should be cooled down enough to put the lid on. I'm not using a brand new lid. I have one that's been washed. Sometimes I use a used jar that was from Pickles or some other glass jar to make pickled fish. So there it is. There's the pickled fish, and it's I'm ready to go in the refrigerator so that it can begin its process over the next 7 days. So let's put it in the fridge. So this is the northern pike that I pickled, and it's been in the fridge a little bit longer than 7 days. But it's my pickled pike recipe with peppers and onions, and so we're going to try it here in a little bit. We'll take it out. It's a refrigerator pickle. It is stuck here a little bit. I'm going to use a fork to get it open. But this is what it looks like in the jar up close. This is what it looks like in the jar. And so we'll try some of the peppers and the fish. So there's a lot of vegetables at the top because when I got done, I put some more vegetables in there to fill it up, the jar. One of the things about pickling fish using this recipe is that the fish, the bones are edible. They're softened. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to pull some vegetables out and some onions. Those are just as good. So we're going to try it with the cracker and without the cracker. So we'll try it with the, I'll break a piece off here with my fork, and we'll try it without a cracker. It's usually nice and soft. The bones are dissolved, and it's very good, very delicious. I'm gonna try a pepper. The onions and the peppers, they are nice and crisp. Pickled. They're pickled just like the fish. So I have some like Ritz type crackers here. So we're going to put this fish on there and we're going to try it and see if it's any different. It should be just as delicious as the fish without the cracker. Just fantastic. Very delicious. Here's an onion. We'll try another onion. Very good. So this is the pickled northern pike and with peppers and onions. There's also some juniper berries in there. This is the pickled pike that I made, and it's as we just showed you, it's delicious. Either on a cracker or just by itself. The vegetables are very good. And so I will have a copy of the recipe in the description. So you can highlight that and print it off and try this yourself. I've made some modifications from the original recipe from the book that I used. Because over the years I've added tried different wines with this recipe. And I've done hot and mild peppers in it. And so this is the recipe that I've kind of modified that the people I've shared this with really enjoy it. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel, Exploring Food, Cooking, and Dining, and we'll see you on the next video.